One day you will wake up and realize something uncomfortable. Your life didn't fall apart. It didn't collapse overnight. It quietly became the result of what you did every single day. Not your dreams, not your intentions, your habits. Think of your life like a compass. Every small daily action nudges the needle slightly. You don't notice it today, you don't feel it tomorrow. But months later, you look around and realize you've arrived somewhere you never consciously chose. That's how futures are lost. Not in one big mistake, but in small decisions repeated daily. And the most dangerous habit of all is living as if today doesn't matter. If you change what you do daily, you will inevitably change what you become. Today, I'm sharing 5 daily habits that don't just improve your life. They quietly, steadily, and completely rewrite it. The first habit is about how you begin your day, before the world touches you, before it places its weight on your mind. Most people don't realize that the first few minutes after waking up are not neutral. They are vulnerable. Your mind is open, unguarded, still forming its direction. And what do most people do in that moment? They hand that power away. They reach for their phone. They let other people's priorities, problems, opinions, and noise rush in before they have even met themselves. Without knowing it, they start the day already behind, already reacting, already living on borrowed focus. Think about it carefully. If the first voice you hear in the morning is not your own, then whose life are you really living? Day? When you wake up and immediately consume messages, headlines, social feeds, you are telling your mind that it does not get to lead. It only gets to respond. And a mind that only responds will never build a life with intention. It will stay busy, but it will feel empty. It will feel tired even before the day has properly begun. Not because the day is hard, but because the foundation is weak. This habit is not about waking up earlier or doing something impressive. It is about reclaiming ownership of your inner space. Even a few quiet minutes can change the emotional direction of the entire day. Sitting without noise, breathing without urgency, letting your thoughts settle like dust in the air. When the mind is calm, it stops fighting imaginary battles. It stops replaying yesterday. It stops worrying about things that haven't happened yet. In that stillness, you begin to notice something powerful. You are not behind. You are right where you need to be. Many people say they don't have time for this. But time is not the real issue. Attention is. You always make time for what you think matters. And if you don't think your inner life matters, the world will decide it for you. Start in. Your day without taking from the world is a way of saying, I matter enough to begin with myself. It is not selfish, it is responsible. Because when you don't check in with yourself, you carry confusion into every conversation, every task, every decision. You don't need a perfect routine. You don't need special words or rituals. Sometimes it's just one honest thought. How do I want to show up today? That single question can slow you down in the best way. It reminds you that today is not something that happens to you. It is something you participate in. You may not control everything, but you can control your posture toward it. Calm or rushed, grounded or scattered, present or absent. Notice how different the day feels when you begin this way. Challenges still come, but they don't shake you as easily. You don't take things as personally. You don't feel pulled in 10 directions at once. It's like setting an internal compass before stepping into a crowded place. Without that compass, every noise distracts you, every opinion moves you, every small problem feels heavy. With it, you walk with quiet confidence, even if you don't have all the answers. This habit slowly rewires your relationship with pressure. Instead of waking up already tense, already late, already overwhelmed, you wake up anchored. You begin to understand that peace is not found by removing problems, but by strengthening the mind that faces them. And strength doesn't come from motivation, it comes from consistency, from choosing again and again to start your day from the inside out. Over time, something subtle but powerful happens. You stop chasing the day. The day begins to meet you where you are. Your thoughts become clearer. Your reactions soften. You listen better. You speak with more intention. All because you decided not to give away the first moments of your consciousness. Not to the phone, not to the noise, not to the world. You claim them for yourself, and in doing so, you quietly change the tone of everything that followed. The second habit is the habit of choosing one uncomfortable thing every day, not because you enjoy discomfort, but because you respect what it creates inside you. Most people think they are avoiding pain, but what they are really avoiding is growth. They wake up each morning quietly negotiating with their own limits, deciding what they can skip, what they can't delay, what they can soften so the day feels easier. And slowly, without noticing, the mind learns that comfort is the boss. Once that happens, potential becomes polite, ambition becomes cautious, and life starts shrinking without ever making a sound. Discomfort is misunderstood. It isn't loud, it isn't dramatic. Most of the time it shows up as a small resistance in the body, a tight feeling in the chest before a difficult conversation, a heaviness in the hands before starting a task you've been avoiding, a subtle voice saying, "Not today." That voice sounds reasonable. It sounds protective, but it has one job: to keep you exactly where you are. And if you obey it every day, it builds a prison that feels comfortable but slowly steals your confidence. When you choose one uncomfortable act on purpose, you interrupt that pattern. You prove to yourself that fear does not get the final say. It doesn't have to be heroic. In fact, the smaller it is, the more powerful it becomes. Sending the message you keep rewriting, speaking honestly instead of staying silent, starting before you feel ready. These moments don't look impressive from the outside, but inside something shifts. Your self-respect grows. And self-respect is far more important than motivation, because it stays even when energy disappears. The mind learns through evidence, not promises. Every time you face discomfort and survive it, you send a quiet message to yourself: "I can handle this." Message becomes a foundation. Over time, you stop panicking at resistance. You stop seeing difficulty as a warning sign. You start seeing it as a doorway. Not because it feels good, but because it feels meaningful. Comfort gives relief. Discomfort gives direction. One makes the day easier, the other makes your life larger. Many people wait for confidence before they act, but confidence is not, because it is the result. It grows after you do the thing you were unsure about. That's why avoiding discomfort creates a strange emptiness. You may feel safe, but you don't feel strong. You may feel relaxed, but you don't feel proud. Strength is built in moments where you don't know the outcome but move anyway. Those moments don't shout, they whisper. And if you listen closely, they change how you see yourself. There will be days when discomfort feels heavier than usual, days when your energy is low and your mind is loud. On those days, choosing discomfort is not about pushing harder, it's about staying honest. Honest about what matters, honest about what you're avoiding. Even choosing a smaller, uncomfortable action on those days keeps the habit alive. It reminds you that you are not led by mood. You are guided by values, and values don't disappear just because the day is hard. Over time, this habit reshapes your relationship with fear. Fear stops feeling like an enemy and starts feeling like information. It shows you where growth is waiting. It shows you which edges of your life are still unexplored. You stop asking, "How do I stay comfortable?" and begin asking, What is the S moment asking of me? That shift changes everything. You no longer measure your days by how easy they were, but by how honest you were with your potential. Choosing one uncomfortable thing a day doesn't make life perfect. It makes it real. It builds a quiet inner strength that doesn't need approval. A strength that doesn't collapse under pressure. A strength that knows it can meet difficulty without running away. And oh, that strength becomes familiar. Comfort loses its control over you. Not because comfort disappears, but because you no longer depend on it to feel okay. The third habit is learning how to speak to yourself with discipline instead of drama. Because the voice you hear most in your lifetime will never come from outside. It will come from within, in quiet moments, in pauses between actions, in the space where no one else can hear you. That voice is always teaching you something about what you deserve, about what you can handle, about when to try and when to quit. And whether you realize it or not, you are either training that voice to strengthen you or allowing it to slowly weaken you. Most people don't notice how often they turn small setbacks into personal attacks. A missed goal becomes proof of failure. A slow day becomes a story about laziness. One mistake becomes a judgment on character. This is not honesty. This is emotional exaggeration. It feels intense, but it is unproductive. Drama in the mind drains energy without creating clarity. Discipline, on the other hand, is calm. It doesn't shout, it doesn't insult. It simply tells the truth and points forward. It says, "This didn't work. Adjust. Try again." No shame attached. The way you speak to yourself shapes how safe your mind feels when things go wrong. If every mistake is met with harsh words, your mind learns to avoid effort. It learns that trying is dangerous because failure comes with punishment. But when your inner voice is firm and respectful, effort becomes safer. You don't collapse under pressure. You don't panic at imperfection. You stay present, you correct instead of retreating. That is how consistency is built. Not through pressure, but through trust with yourself. Think about the difference between a coach who screams at every error and one who gives clear instruction. One creates fear, the other creates progress. Your mind responds the same way. When you tell yourself, "I'm always behind," your body tightens, your focus scatters. But when you say, "I'm learning to manage this better," something opens up. You don't feel weak for struggling. You feel capable of improving. Words don't just describe reality, they shape your nervous system's response to it. Discipline in self-talk doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means being precise. Instead of saying, "I'm terrible at this," you say, "I haven't practiced enough yet." Instead of, "I'll never change," you say, "This habit is still forming." These are not motivational tricks. They are accurate statements that leave room for movement. Drama traps you in identity. Discipline keeps you focused on behavior, and behavior can always change. Over time, this shift creates emotional stability. You stop riding extreme highs and lows based on outcomes. You stop defining yourself by single moments. Your inner voice becomes a steady presence, not a courtroom. It doesn't put you on trial every night. It reviews the day, notes what can improve, and moves on. That steadiness becomes a source of quiet confidence. You no longer need constant reassurance from the outside, because the inside has become a place of guidance, not judgment. The fourth habit is ending your day with honest self-review, not to judge yourself, but to understand yourself. Most people don't end their day, they escape it. They distract themselves until sleep arrives and hope tomorrow feels different. But days don't change on their own, they repeat. And without reflection, life becomes a loop where the same mistakes wear different clothes. Self-review is the pause that breaks that loop. It's the moment you stop running and finally look at the direction you're heading. When the day is over and the noise fades, there is a quiet window where truth becomes clearer. Not loud truth, gentle truth, the kind that doesn't accuse but reveals. You begin to notice patterns, where your energy went, what drained you, what lifted you, which moments felt aligned and which felt forced. This is not about scoring your day as good or bad, it's about noticing without flinching. Becca, use awareness, even without immediate change, already starts reshaping the future. Many people avoid this habit because they fear disappointment. They fear facing the gap between who they want to be and how they showed up. But ignoring that gap doesn't close it, it widens it. Honest self-review is not about making yourself smaller. It's about making your direction clearer. When you see the truth, you gain choice. And choice is where power begins. Without awareness, you are pushed by habits. With awareness, you begin to guide them. Think of it like cleaning a mirror instead of criticizing your reflection. The reflection was always there. It wasn't the problem, the dirt was. Reflection clears the surface so you can see yourself accurately. You notice moments where you reacted instead of responding. Moments where you said yes when you meant no. Moments where you showed courage quietly. These details matter. They teach you what to protect and what to improve. And slowly, you stop repeating days unconsciously. This habit also softens regret. When you review your day honestly, you don't carry unfinished emotional weight into tomorrow. You don't replay moments endlessly in your head. You acknowledge them, learn from them, and let them settle. That creates mental space. Space for rest. Space for clarity. Space for better decisions the next morning. The mind rests best when it knows nothing important is being ignored. Self-review builds self-respect. Not because you are perfect, but because you are present with yourself. You took responsibility without self-attack. You stayed awake, instead of numb. Over time, this practice strengthens your inner compass. You stop blaming the day. You stop outsourcing accountability. You begin to see how small adjustments create real change. Not overnight, but steadily. And steadiness is how lasting transformation is built. When you do this consistently, something shifts quietly inside you. You stop fearing the end of the day. Night becomes a teacher instead of an escape. You begin to trust yourself more because you know you will check in, course correct, and move forward. That trust creates calm, and calm creates clarity. And clarity shapes the kind of life that doesn't just move fast, but moves true. The fifth habit is learning to respect your energy more than your time. Because time keeps moving, whether you are present or not, but energy decides the quality of every moment you live. Many people say they are busy, but what they really mean is that they are drained. They fill their schedules and wonder why even simple things feel heavy. It's not a lack of hours, it's a lack of inner fuel. When your energy is low, focus scatters, patience thins, and small problems feel bigger than they are. Energy is not just physical. It is emotional. It is mental. It is the feeling of being clear instead of cluttered inside. You can have a free calendar and still feel exhausted if your mind is constantly pulled in different directions. Every unnecessary argument, every unspoken resentment, every moment spent pleasing when you wanted to rest quietly takes something from you. Respecting your energy means noticing what silently drains why, and choosing not to leak yourself everywhere. This habit requires boundaries, and boundaries often feel uncomfortable at first. Saying no can feel like closing a door, but it is really protecting the room where your strength lives. When you overextend yourself, you don't become generous, you become resentful. And resentment slowly poisons even the things you once enjoyed. Respecting your energy is not about doing less for the world. It's about showing up fully for the things that truly matter instead of being half present everywhere. Think about how different your decisions are when you are rested and centered. You listen better, you react slower, you choose words with care. That's not luck, that's energy alignment. When you protect your sleep, your focus, and your emotional space, you don't need to force discipline. It becomes natural. You don't push yourself through the day, you move with intention. And intention makes even ordinary actions feel meaningful. Many people ignore their energy signals until the body demands attention. Tension, irritation, numbness. These are not weaknesses. They are messages. Respecting your energy means listening before burnout speaks louder. It means giving yourself permission to pause without guilt, to step back without explaining, to choose restoration without feeling lazy. Strength is not built by constant output. It is built by honoring rhythm. When you begin to live this way, your life slows down in the right places. You stop rushing into things that don't align. You stop reacting to everything that asks for your attention. You become selective, not indifferent. Present, not passive. And in that selectiveness, something powerful happens. Your energy stops being scattered and starts becoming focused. Focused energy creates clarity. Clarity creates confidence. And confidence changes the way you move through the world, quietly but unmistakably. Change does not arrive loudly. It doesn't knock on your door with announcements or dema that you become someone else overnight. It enters quietly through the small choices you make when no one is watching, through how you begin your mornings, how you face discomfort, how you speak to yourself, how you reflect at night, and how carefully you protect your energy. These are not dramatic moments, but they are decisive ones. Your life is shaped less by what you hope for and more by what you practice. Every day you are teaching yourself what you tolerate, what you prioritize, and what you believe you deserve. And the truth is, you don't need to fix everything at once. You just need to stop abandoning yourself in small ways. Consistency, not intensity, is what changes the direction of a life. There will still be hard days, there will still be doubt. But when your habits are aligned, those days don't break you. They inform you. You learn to move through them with steadiness instead of panic, with clarity instead of noise. You begin to trust yourself, not because life became easy, but because you became grounded. This is how strength is built. Quietly, honestly, daily. Not by chasing a different life, but by showing and up differently in the one you already have. And when you do that long enough, something shifts. You don't feel like you're trying to change anymore. You feel like you're finally becoming who you were meant to be.